Welcome to the Climate Action Call for the Mothers Out Front Future of Clean Heat campaign. My name is Rosemary Wessel from Berkshire Environmental Action Team. And we have folks here from Mothers Out Front Amherst, Northampton, the statewide organization. We have even some folks from the 350 Mass Berkshire node. So this is definitely a team effort. In the next 45 minutes, you'll learn about the campaign and we'll be taking focused action together. We will be contacting our gas utility companies and demanding a just transition away from so-called natural gas, which is actually mostly fossil fuel methane, to clean heating solutions compatible with a livable climate. Before we get going, I'll quickly go over a few norms for our Zoom action hour. Please rename yourself to add your city or town to your Zoom name. Use the chat to share comments or questions during the call. Please remember to mute yourself when we're on this call. There's enough people in the room. And finally, we are recording this action hour. So if you don't want to be seen in the recording, please use Zoom controls to turn off your video. Here's a quick preview of tonight's call. We'll start with a brief overview of today's focus. We will present the background information about our topic and provide you with details of the action that we'll be taking together. During our action time, which will be roughly about 15 minutes, each one of us will sign a petition that Mothers Out Front has initiated, and we will share the petition with our networks through email and social media. When we then come back together for a screenshot and close out the meeting around 6:45, we'll see how the time goes. And we do hope that you'll stay to the end. In order to preserve a livable climate, we know we have to wean ourselves off fossil fuel like gas and oil. We rely heavily on natural gas here in Massachusetts. About half the homes in our state use gas for heating and often for water heating and cooking too. And more than a quarter of our state's greenhouse gas emissions can be attributed to the gas that we burn in our homes and businesses. The technology that we need to switch away from this fossil fuel exists, but many people are locked into the gas system, and that's why we're here today. We will ask our utility companies that have the power and capital to replace our leaky, crumbling gas system with one that's clean, efficient, affordable, and compatible with a livable climate. Let me turn it over to Jill Medina Elizalde to explain the background on the issue.
So hi, my name is Jill Medina Elizalde, and I'm from the Amherst group, the Mothers Out Front chapter. And Tina's going to give you the necessary background on the gas that you need to take action in 15 minutes. So let's start with a quick overview on the problem with natural gas, because the gas industry has been very savvy about marketing this fossil fuel as a clean source of energy. First off, what we call natural gas is 95% methane. It's a very potent greenhouse gas. And you're likely aware that when we burn gas, it gives off CO2, carbon dioxide, which contributes to climate change. But that's not methane's biggest problem. When methane leaks into the atmosphere, it is 86 times more potent than carbon dioxide over the first 20 years in the atmosphere. So burning gas is bad, but leaking gas is disastrous. And we leak a lot of gas. Gas leaks all the way from the fracking fields to our homes. It even leaks inside our homes. And new studies have shown that the way we extract, transport, and burn gas is actually worse than coal for our climate. At this moment, we have about 16,000 active, unrepaired gas leaks continuously leaking methane into our air in Massachusetts. And enough gas is leaking every year to heat 200,000 homes. So the problem with gas system infrastructure like compressor stations increases the local level of air pollution. People who must live close to these gas facilities have increased health risks like asthma and cancer. Fossil fuel infrastructure is often located in communities without the resources of time and money to fight them. Their health and safety are sacrificed so that others can access gas and oil for their energy needs. Burning gas in buildings also emits dangerous levels of air pollution. Harmful chemical compounds vented outdoors pollute the air around us. And cooking with a gas stove can fill our homes with these same harmful chemicals. Pollution from burning gas in buildings is worse than we thought. A recent Harvard study calculated that 350,000 people a year die in the US alone from indoor and outdoor fossil fuel emitted pollution. There'll be a link to this study in the chat. You can check that out there. So what do we want? How do we heat our homes without fossil fuels? Well, with electricity. So this campaign is focused on a systematic transition to all electric and energy efficient heating systems. We want to transition off of dirty, dangerous fossil fuels. We want an energy system that is safe, clean, and healthy, and we want to increase the amount of electricity we source from renewables. We want heating and cooling, and most of all, we want this transition to be affordable for everyone. And we don't want to leave utility workers behind. Massachusetts Mothers Out Front has developed a platform called the Future of Clean Heat to explain how to achieve this. So there are two main methods of heating our homes without fossil fuels. First, there's the air source heat pumps, and they're an efficient, affordable way to heat homes and businesses, even in cold climates. These systems are comparable with modern natural gas systems in terms of operating cost and comfort. Heat pumps are powered by electricity. As we increase the amount of renewable energy that feeds into our electric grid, these systems become more and more sustainable to operate. Heat pumps also provide cooling, which is important for climate resiliency in a warming world. The second method to electrify is to create geothermal microgrids, neighborhood by neighborhood. This means running water through pipes in the ground and using the steady temperature of the earth to heat and cool our homes. On this slide, you can see what this could look like. This is not wild technology from the future. It's networked ground source systems are already being used all over the world. It offers a clear path forward for our utility companies to transition the whole gas system to something new and sustainable. This is important because a transition to heat pumps should not happen one house at a time. If we do it that way, only the people who can afford to transition will be left on the gas system, and they'll be paying for the increased cost of maintaining this crumbling infrastructure. Both heat pumps and geothermal microgrids could be financed through government and utility funding, and that would be a much better investment than perpetuating a system that harms our health and fuels climate change. A report released just a few weeks ago showed that the utilities program to replace the gas pipelines will cost the ratepayers well over $20 billion by 2040. And that the utilities are profiting greatly from replacing pipes rather than repairing them at a much lesser cost. So we can put this link to that report in the chat as well. Thank you, and I'll pass it on to Tina.
Thanks, Jill. Hi, everybody. I'm Tina from the Northampton Mothers Out Front chapter. So the next part of this equation then becomes who has the power and who holds the power to make the transition from a fossil fuel-based system to clean, safe, and just electrification. And that is the utilities and their executives. Here in Massachusetts, that means Eversource, National Grid, and Berkshire Gas, along with Liberty and Unitil. Through an order issued last year by Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey, the gas utilities are now required to come up with a plan for meeting the state's emissions reductions targets. Thanks to Attorney General Healey and grassroots advocates' pressure, there is mandatory stakeholder involvement in the development of these plans. And good news, Mothers Out Front has a seat at the table. But so far, the gas utility proposals are not good. The gas companies have been put in charge of planning their own future. And not surprisingly, their vision of the future still contains a lot of gas. And the March 2022 deadline is approaching. So that's really soon, and they need to come up with a plan by then. So the 4 initial proposals released by the gas companies all involve maintaining the entire gas system as is. Not one offers a plan to fully transition off of explosive gas-based fuels. What they have offered are a variety of schemes to reduce consumption of fossil fuel while perpetuating the use of our leaky and expensive gas system. These schemes include blending in biogas, which will still leak and cause negative health impacts, blending in hydrogen, which has even more serious health and safety concerns, and adding heat pumps in our homes, but continuing to maintain the gas system. So Mothers Out Front and other allies at the stakeholder table have been working hard to get the gas companies to change. We want the gas utilities to add a scenario that includes no gas and all renewables. But this is not going to happen without public pressure. The quotes on this slide right here, these are put together from leaked internal documents from a meeting of the National Consortium to Combat Electrification. That was co-led by Eversource. So as you can see, the gas industry feels like it's fighting for its life. They're using marketing strategies and scare tactics to perpetuate the use of natural gas. What do these tactics look like in practice? Here are some of them, which is kind of insane. Maybe you heard the recent uproar over these activity books from Eversource. These activity books were distributed to an elementary school in Cambridge last spring. The gas companies hope that if the public continues to believe that gas is our friend, then they won't have to change. Mothers Out Front and its allies are going to continue working at the stakeholder table to get the gas companies to write a better plan. And we need strong grassroots pressure to elevate our voices. And what we want to say is that we, the ratepayers, don't want fossil fuels and other explosive gas in our homes. They have to come up with real climate solutions, give us clean, renewable, non-polluting heat. We want to make sure that everyone has access to it, that it's affordable, and that your workers are retrained to put to work building a better system. This is our demand of the utility companies. So this is where you all come in. Your actions today, your petition signatures and social media messages will help amplify our demand that gas companies submit a plan to get off of fossil fuels entirely. Our Future of Clean Heat campaign includes the following goals: 1,000 signatures on our petition, social media campaign with different social media platforms. We aim to deliver 5,000 postcards to the 3 largest utility companies saying that we want real climate solutions. And as of right now, I believe we have about 2,000 postcards already signed. We, just as an addendum, I think we have a date that we're going to be delivering these postcards to the utilities at the end of November. We have live action events planned to deliver these November 17th, and we'll talk about perhaps a fun delivery idea after the webinar is over. That's if we have enough time. Today, we'll be doing the top 2 items on this list. We'll be getting signatures for the petition, and we'll be tweeting out to utility companies or posting on social media about the future that we want for our homes and businesses. So now I'm going to hand it back over to Rose from Berkshire Environmental Action Team, and she's going to lead you through our actions today. Thanks so much.
So we're ready for the beginning of our action. Sarit, can you please put the link to our action kit in the chat? We put the action link in the chat, and it contains all of the instructions for today's actions. There are 3 parts to the action. Step 1 is to sign the petition by adding your name, town, and zip code. Step 2 is to send an email to at least 5 friends and asking them to sign too. Let's go ahead, follow that link in the chat and start with these steps. And if anyone has trouble getting there, you can unmute yourself and double check with us. Sounds like we're all good.
So we'll all be doing these steps, and just unmute yourself if you have a question as you're doing.
And for people who are really quick, we can, Jane, if you could move it to the next slide. Step 3 is for Twitter or other social media users. And this is also on that same action kit, just scroll down. So right now you can tweet your support for clean heat and spread the word about the petition. And if you're not on Twitter, don't worry, you can copy the text and the image in the action kit and drop them into the social media of your choice. You have the tools to make taking action for the climate quick and easy. So if you follow the link and go down to the instructions under step 3, explaining how to use your Twitter account to let the gas utility companies know we want an immediate change and transition to clean energy. The simplest way is to click on the click here to tweet link for your gas utility. This automatically pulls up your Twitter account and types in the tweet for you. All you need to do is hit that click to tweet. Depending on your connection speed, it can take a minute or two. So give it a little bit of time if you don't see it right away. I know I got a redirect notice and thought, oh, it's not going. And then boop, it went ahead and populated. And if you're interested, you can take an extra step and make your tweets more engaging. You can download the provided image linked in the action kit and click add media to your tweet. And now you're even more likely to get attention. So happy posting. And we'll see everybody in about 15 minutes. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute and ask the questions.
Rose, Rose, it's Michelle Morantz. Step number 2, share by email. I don't know. It says send our petition to 5 friends. Where do I put in the addresses for the 5 friends?
You would open up your own email and copy the text in the action kit and paste it into your whatever email program you use.
I get it. Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Hi, this is Elizabeth. I have a question. Are you asking people who are not customers of Berkshire Gas to do the tweets, or only people who are customers of them?
We've been asking people who aren't customers because the climate affects us all. So
Okay.
the product that they're putting into the air affects all of us.
Okay.
Yeah. And now that I think of it, you could send to any of the gas companies on that proposal. And once you're done taking all the different actions, just go ahead and put done in the chat so we get an idea of how folks are doing. If we have a bunch of really savvy folks, we can move on a little earlier. And if not, we will continue waiting. Okay, I'm seeing quite a few people are done taking the actions. Does anyone mind if we move on? Okay, I think we're ready to move on. I see a lot of folks citing done in the chat. So thank you. If you finished with your writing and sharing, that's great. If not, keep the action kit open and you can finish once we're done with the presentation. And we'd like to take a screenshot of everybody. So if Sarit and I believe Felicia, you're going to take them as well. Everyone smile and wave, give a thumbs up.
Turn on your video.
Turn on your video if you want. Unless you
I've taken one. I'll take one more. Keep smiling and waving. I'll take one more. So good to see everybody. Yay.
why don't we all do one angry face, like get off of the gas.
Oh, there's a good idea. Okay, here comes the angry face time. 1, 2, 3. Off the
There
gas.
we go. That's always fun. Okay, so I'd like you to make your way down to the chat at this point and tell us what you were able to accomplish today and how it made you feel to take action together. While you do that, I have a quote that I'd like to share from Dave Pomerantz at the Energy and Policy Institute. He said, "Imagine getting to be alive during the vanishingly thin slice of history where we understand the full gravity of the climate crisis and still have time to do something about it. How does it feel to be doing something about it?"
Yay. Look how
Yay.
quickly we did this. This is amazing.
Isn't this fun?
Thank you, everybody.
We attended one of these and we're like, we have to do this. We have to do this. So great format by Mothers Out Front. So, oh, okay. So Jane, if you want to share next steps, we have a few final notes for today. There we go. You'll receive a follow-up email. It'll contain links to these actions. Please forward these to your network and post on social media. We want thousands of signatures on this petition. So please forward it to anyone in Massachusetts who might want to help out. And you can help this campaign in another way by signing postcards and getting 5 or 10 others to do the same. If you're in Berkshire County, you can email team@thebeatnews, that's BEAT news.org, and pick up 10 cards. We'll be delivering cards to Berkshire Gas on November 17th in the morning, kicking off a statewide series of putting gas companies on notice, all on one day. So either Tina or Andra or Felicia, do you have any instructions for folks in the Pioneer Valley?
Yeah, we can also send cards or arrange to drop them off. I will drop my email address in here if anybody wants to contact me.
Just for people who haven't seen them, they're pretty much all done. They just need signatures. And
Right, it's just a matter of putting your name and address.
there's space to add your own sentence if you want, which makes it even better, but it's really super easy.
Really easy, and there's no postage needed because they're going to be hand delivered to the headquarters of all the pipeline companies
Mhm.
or local gas companies, same thing. So thanks to all of you who joined today. It's really meaningful to take climate action together, knowing that we're all working to make the Commonwealth and the world a better place, all at the same time. So I hope the gas utilities executives will understand our commitment and our power and will align their transition plans with our future of clean heat platform. I want to thank Mothers Out Front Massachusetts and the Northampton and Amherst chapters particularly, who helped put this together, and the many people who worked behind the scenes to make this call happen.
So yeah, so the idea is to create a multimodal relay of people going across the state in one day using electric cars, bikes, running. It's like the Olympics, passing the torch. And we're going to use it as a way to get a lot of local media as we move across the state. And it's going to start in Pittsfield at 9 o'clock, 9:30.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, we're planning starting around 9, and it'll probably last to about 9:30 for the delivery. Where we want to gather as many folks as want to join us at Berkshire Gas headquarters. It's on Route 8. What's the name of the road there? Is that Cheshire Road? I think that's Cheshire Road in Pittsfield. And they have a big front lawn. We're going to march up the front lawn and deliver the postcards. And there's I believe, a Mothers Out Front banner and a copy of the Future of Clean Heat program that's going to be passed from town to town. And it's going to be passed along, I believe, in front of energy significant places along the way, and stop at all the different headquarters across the state.
So if you have ideas of places that we should stop in Western Mass, that would be great. And if you are a biker or, have an electric car that you'd like to participate in part of the relay, cool. I have an idea that maybe we could cross by canoe or kayak from Hatfield to Hadley.
And Denise.
Sorry. So I don't know how directly on the path, are there any peaker plants we could stop at to sort of highlight some sort of infrastructure that we'd like people to know about that they may not know about?
Ooh, that's a great idea. There's one right fairly close in Pittsfield. We could stop at Pittsfield Generating, on the launch, and I can look at the peaker map and find out where the other ones are. Yeah, I know there's one.
Yeah, there's one in West Springfield that may be en route.
Yep. And I know there's one in Chicopee, although I think they may have retired that plant, but there are other ones across the state. I'll track that down and post it in the chat, actually, so we all have it here.
Okay, great.
If anybody here would like some postcards and you think you might have a group that you could, or an area or an event that you might get some signed out, let us know.
And if you're in Berkshire County, we've made little boxes, little yellow boxes that hold a bunch of cards, and then people can sign them and drop the card into the box. So if you have a place where a lot of people stop by, either a shop counter or a church or a temple that a lot of people go in, a lot of folks can sign when there's a gathering, leave them in the box, and you can bring the box back to beat.
And there are flyers that explain a lot of this in pretty,
Yeah.
easy to understand language, but more the postcards really don't explain much. But if there's a bulletin board to hang by that box, Rose, you made some of those copies yourself, right, Rose and Jane?
They were sent to us by Mothers Out Front, actually, and they're really great posters. We have enough to get a few to anyone who takes a box or stack of cards.
One of the things the Northampton chapter discussed last night at the end of our meeting was it looks like this year for Halloween, there's going to be a big rag shag parade again in the middle of Florence. And I had the idea of dressing up as either a methane gas leak or Greta Thunberg. and getting people to sign postcards while they wait for the parade to start. I'm trying to think of a climate costume that I can wear. And then there's a lot of parents that stand around waiting for the parade to start. And I'm hoping to get postcards signed that way. So just an idea, if anybody else has kids or is going to a Halloween event, you could tie in some creative costuming.
What could be scarier than gas leaks?
That's so great. So Jane said she'd drive her electric car partway. We have to decide what the route would be. And we could have multiple routes. It doesn't have to be like one line, because it could be, people congregating, going to a place. And if you wanted to organize something in your town, even if it's really staged, just to have, maybe some kids running with the postcards, down the street, we could like work it into a video that we're going to do, and just show the different places that people were signing postcards and delivering. So.
Oh, and also the video footage and photos from all these events across the state, starting with you all, will be used in the big Massachusetts-wide climate action call, kind of like this, but the next iteration about delivery and just amplifying this message to the utility executives. The next day on the 18th, we're gonna like stay up all night and curate or whatever we have to do. So it's your moment for 15 seconds of fame if you want to do something flashy and get a good picture.
Hopefully fun. We need to
Yeah.
have fun while we're doing this.
Great. So are there any more questions or ideas that people want to share?
Rose, where will what's the end point of the march or the relay?
And definitely probably knows better than me. I'd have to look it up.
Well,
no.
this idea, Andrew and I have been on some calls and email. It's like 48 hours old, this idea. But it looks like from Berkshire Gas to National Grid in Waltham to Eversource in Boston, the Prudential Center, where they won't even let you up the elevator to get to the Eversource floor. But there's a publicly accessible area where we could demonstrate. So that's the rough itinerary so far. Andrew, do you have anything else?
Well, it'll definitely, we're pretty sure it'll stop in Worcester. So, we're gonna probably do a handoff in Worcester at least. But yeah.
Out here, the companies that are most prevalent are Eversource and Berkshire Gas for gas. So that's probably where our postcards will mostly be going.
Yeah, and I mean, your Eversource postcards can be added to Worcester's because they have Eversource for gas. So it's kind of like collecting and dropping off. There's sort of two actions going on.
Yeah, the cards are being dropped off at the headquarters that they belong to. So any Berkshire Gas cards coming from Pioneer Valley would need to be in Pittsfield for the 9 o'clock drop off at the Berkshire Gas headquarters in Pittsfield. And then Eversource, of course, is what they're facing in the lower Pioneer Valley because they took over the Columbia gas system. And then there's the regular Eversource customers that have been there for a while in Worcester area and other areas, and that would all go to Boston, and the National Grid ones would go there. But it's the banner and the copy of the plan that's making its way all the way across the state, if I caught the details correctly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Tina put her email, and if you're in the Pioneer Valley and want to deliver Eversource cards, contact Tina. There she is again. And if you are in the Eastern Division of Berkshire Gas, or you know people who are, put them in touch with Felicia. Are you willing to put
Yeah.
your
Sure, yeah.
and we'll be collecting on this side of the hills. Any Greenfield people? Definitely going to connect with the climate folks up there and get some postcards.
I'm up in Franklin County, so I can offer a point if people want to find a way to connect with me
Oh, great, Sari.
as
Where
well.
are you?
so. I'm in Millers Falls. It's right next to Turner's.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, super. We got people all the way up, almost, to Turner's Falls. So that could be a fun bike ride maybe for somebody.
And Jill mentioned that she's in Deerfield, so there's another connection. Great.
Right.
Okay, I think we're all set.
Okay.
We'll copy the chat and we have some notes that we'll pass around afterward. And thanks everyone for coming and taking action. It's great to see everyone. Great to see some new faces too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rose.